Hello and welcome to episode 36 of Customer Success Rants and Musings with myself, Rick Adams, the founder and CEO at practicalcsm.com. And very welcome you are too. So episode 36 is entitled, What is a Customer Journey? So let's talk about the concept of a customer journey. So as I've got here on the slide, the customer journey is the journey that the customer goes on. And it's the entirety of the journey that the customer goes on, right from the very first moment that they know about our organization, perhaps through some marketing activities, going on into the sales process where they get involved with an account manager or salesperson, help them identify what we do and how we do it and how it might help them, and negotiating the sale, and on through maybe customization and implementation and so on. And then obviously on into our sales at customer success, and also product support post sale to help the customer to get value out of whatever we've sold them. So it's the entirety of that journey. It therefore kind of describes the overall relationship with the customer, between ourselves as the supplier and the customer. And very often what we will record is touch points. Every time that the customer talks to us, the touch point is described and also is defined as to how well it goes, what the customer's emotions are at that point, whether the experience they're getting is a good one or a mediocre one or a poor one. They're often documented using something called a journey map that divides the journey into the phases, defines each of those touch points that we've just described, so that we can follow it along. And that helps us to understand the process through the eyes of and from the perspective of the customer, which is what this is all about. So it documents their experience, and that helps us to then develop improvements in that experience through our innovation of our processes and our touch points. So that's really what a customer journey is. And what we need to do is we need to consider whether all our customers have exactly the same journey, or whether actually there are some customers who have a different journey because they have different needs. So those different needs might mean that they have different touch points with different people within our organization at different stages in that journey. So we need to perhaps identify more than one customer journey. If you have multiple customer journeys, then effectively to go through the system in a different way, they would be another segment. And that helps us. And in particular, if we then look at just the bit that is the parts of the journey that customer success managers manage, that helps us, because if we can segment by that, well, then it helps us to define, well, what should the customer success service look like to that segment and to this segment and to another segment perhaps as well. So we may have 2, 3, 4, 5. We don't want 23 different segments. So we want maybe 3, 4, 5 if necessary, if we've got the need for it. If we don't need any because we have a very simple product that everybody uses and purchases in the same way, well, then that's fine too. But what we don't want is we don't want to increase the complexity of our service offerings by having multiple variations of service. So we want to keep it to 3, 4, 5 or something like that, perhaps. So there we go. That is what a customer journey is. We design it very carefully through considering that journey step by step. We do a journey mapping exercise, and I would suggest that you get involved, the people who actually operate those touch points at each step in the journey, to help define what that step is, what happens during that step, and what the customer experiences, what the customer feels. And then of course ultimately we need to validate it with the customer to make sure that it is correct before we can really trust it. So hopefully that's given you some ideas. Obviously, there's much more that could be talked about customer journeys, but it's a brief introduction to the concept of a customer journey and why it's useful for us in the customer success team as well. So that's it from me. If you've enjoyed this, please do subscribe here on YouTube. That really helps us, because the algorithm from YouTube will promote those channels that have more subscriptions. So if you don't mind, press the subscribe button, assuming that you've enjoyed this material. We thank you for that, and look forward to speaking to you in future episodes of Rants and Musings. Thank you.